Hi, welcome to another edition of Dave's Workshop interview series. Today with me, I have a couple young women from past students of the Salmon Arm Secondary School. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so before we start, any questionings? Can you tell us a bit about yourselves?
Okay. My name's Amanda Steiner. I'm living in Salmon Arm, BC. I'm currently working with my father's construction company, and kind of as a hobby alongside with that, I do modeling as well.
Nice.
And I am Becky Ray. We're cousins, so I also live in Salmon Arm. I am currently not working. I worked in restoration for a year and a half. Currently, I'm not working and just waiting for to start with Amanda, with her dad and her company.
Nice. Glad to hear you're involved in the trades. Okay, so did you always want to work in the trades? Like, was it your first choice? And what influenced your choice or change, if you have one?
I think growing up on a farm and working with the tools and having to build stuff and fix stuff myself and just developing that really led me toward that path from the start. So it was always in my mind. I never really wanted to go to school, be like a doctor or something like that. It was always wanted to do something hands-on, and yeah, that was just always what I wanted to do.
Perfect.
Nice.
I think for me, I definitely didn't know. And it was something more that the more I did it, the more I found that I fell in love with it. I think the more that I got into kind of like the planning aspect of it and seeing like a house come together from start to finish, that's when I really started to actually really enjoy it and fully get into it. But again, like, it's been in my family since my dad owns a construction company. Then I think ever since I was little, I also had that influence. I knew it was an option. I just didn't know whether it was the correct option for me. And then getting older, I was like, oh, this is great. This is so much fun.
Yeah, you know, that's not always the case, but typically when young people get into trade, there is some family influence, whether it's, you know, your parents, your grandparents, aunt or uncle, whatnot. But it's nice to hear that, and we're trying to encourage us so much for people to experience this when they're really young. And obviously, you know, you've experienced it, you know, working on the farm or, you know, just doing things. I mean, this is pretty cool stuff. And if you never tried it, like even later on, you don't know, right? So I really respect both of you for, you know, just sort of going out of your comfort zone and trying some different things, because that's the only way you're going to know what you want to do, right? And you have to find something you enjoy. And you know, by, you know, talking with you earlier, just, you know, it sounds like you found that thing for now anyways, right? So it's, anyways, you know, I want to recap on when we first met. And that was when you're both still in high school, you're taking an Explore program. And we had a showcase event where we brought some employers in to, you know, to check out, you know, the skills that you guys have learned, and you know, check out the shop and what's going on in the school and whatnot. And I just want to know what kind of an effect did that showcase have on the decision to go into trades? Did it help it, or did it sort of light come on, and was it a deciding factor? Or go ahead, sorry.
I think for me, it was just really nice to have that reassurance that somebody was there interested in what we were doing and interested in the fact that we wanted to get into trades. And then it made it more real. Like, it made it seem that like that is an actual possibility, and like there is adults out there actually paying attention to the younger generation and being like, yes, of course you can do this. Like, I'm like, oh, good job. And I think for me that was nice. And I think especially as women, it's always nice to have that encouragement,
for sure,
like of any kind. Then you're just like, oh, I can, and other people believe I can, and then it's a lot easier to believe in yourself.
Yeah,
Nice.
Everything Amanda just said.
Ditto, yeah.
Said, and yeah, it was definitely nice, even talking with you now, that you're still thinking about it and you guys are still wanting to get the younger generation in trades, because definitely growing up before we took that class, we didn't really know that was a super, like, an option, really. like we took wood shop and stuff like that, but nobody went, hey, trades is actually like a job you can do. Like, you don't have to like go into science, or, you know, you don't have to go back to college and become a doctor or something like that. Like, this is something that you can actually do. And that was just really nice to have that confirmation that there are people that are going to be behind us. So, yeah.
You know, that's awesome for you to say that, because that's a big part of the showcase, is having that industry support. And it actually had the effect on you two, as what the whole intention was, to come in, you know, show the support, and just to encourage you to here, try this out. You know, that it's a valid career path to take if you so desire. And you know, that's the nice thing about once you get into the trades. You know, if you get into apprenticeship, you know, it's all about that mentorship, right? So you have actually a mentor throughout your whole apprenticeship. So there's someone there as you're learning the skills and getting paid to, you know, as you're working through it and whatnot. So it's really nice to hear that I know that encouragement from the industry, and because they're always looking for ways to, you know, to participate and help encourage and whatnot. And that's actually, that was our first showcase that we did when you guys were in, and we've done many since because of the success from it. So, I mean, you guys have been couple of our poster girls for our website, right? You're always online there, right? We can relate you to Skills Ready. There's a girls from Skills Ready. Yeah, right on. Okay, so so once you graduated and you went, like, what was your first job in the trades like? What was the first day like?
So as I mentioned, I got a job in restoration. So I'll just like give a general idea. It's essentially like if a flood or fire, like a disaster happens, and we go in and rip out basically fix it. So I got a lot of experience with drywall and stuff like that, a lot of deconstruction, not necessarily, we had contractors to do the reconstruction of everything, but that was really cool. Like my first day, I remember all my coworkers were like really great, really nice. And it was just nice to do something hands-on, you know, just working with tools and stuff like that, and just learning new things. That's what I loved, is the learning new things, like how to deal with baseboards and how flooring goes together and stuff like that. And, you know, like drying houses and stuff like that. It was really cool. Just the learning aspect was really nice for me. There's so many different things that you can do. So that was really cool.
Yeah. I think for me, I think my first day would have been like in elementary school after like working after school, going to help like pick up scraps of wood.
You know, hand at it, right? Yeah. We had to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't really have, I don't think, that like definitive like first day. But I do remember like some of the first times that I was like, okay, like I'm really, you know, here to build a house, probably need to get that done. But it wasn't, I think it was a little different for me because I already had so much prior experience. Yeah.
You know, that sort of leads us into the next question, which you've sort of already answered. You know, it's been a couple of years now. You know, what have you learned through this experience? And you know, it's good to hear that, you know, you went out there and you try things, and now you understand how things work sort of from A to B, right? Even when you're ripping it apart, you're pulling it apart, so you're just doing it in reverse, right? So you say, this is what's behind that drywall, or you know, this is how that's wired. You know, it's so, you know, even if a person's not you know, going to stay in the trades their whole life, just to go out and do what you've done so far and learn those different things, because. And I'm sure you look at things differently now. You walk by a house and you say, oh, yeah, I can do that better. Or look how crooked that is or something. So it really opens your eyes. And expression I always use is, you know, you don't want to go through your life blindfolded. And you know, when you learn something like that, because every day you walk by a building, you walk by places, and you're never curious about how it was built or what's in there. But now you can look at it differently now. Oh, yeah. And you're going to respect the architecture and some of the older buildings and whatnot. So yeah, it's just a real eye opener, right? And the skills you have now are going to be with you for the rest of your life, whether you continue on or not. So that's pretty cool that you shared that with us, because like I said, that sort of covered the next question there. So you know, as we're talking here, you know, the next bit is who and what was your biggest influence and what inspired you till now, or for now, or?
Just up to now. I think when I was younger, my dad was my biggest influence for trades. And then partly Becky, all the time. Like, I think it was a consistent encouragement. Like, every time I was like, oh, you want to go into like a shop class? And I was like, oh, maybe. But like going in together was really nice. And then lately, part of my encouragement has been like every time I go into like a customer's house or anything, and like an older lady's like, oh, if I could live my life again, I wish I could have gone into trades. Like, I wish I had the courage. And then it's almost, to me, like every time I hear that, it's like encouraging to me to be like, okay, I need to like face every fear and every stigma, because then I make it easier for the next generation. Like,
That's nice.
you have to have a path for this person.
For sure.
And then after that, I think my biggest influence then becomes myself. Just like always, like I love learning all the new stuff, and I love like being able to do something I wasn't able to do like 3 months ago. And then I'm just so proud of myself, and I'm like, yes, good job. You're doing great.
Time to learn new things.
Basically.
Yeah, that's that's the beauty of working in the trades, is, and everybody always preaches that, oh, that self-gratification, but it's so true, right? You can look back at the end of the day, at the end of the week, or walk by a job you did, and especially comments like that where one says, I wish I could do it all over again. I'd go into the trades, and you're probably getting comments about your work, and it's just, we're always second guessing our decisions, but when you get some encouragement like that, you go, yeah, that's that's a path I took, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think for me, just growing up on the farm definitely did help. My dad worked away, and my mom wasn't really able to do things on the farm, so it kind of fell on me to fix the fences if they needed fixing, to feed the cows and stuff like that. So it was always something that I took upon myself to do. And then knowing that Amanda was working with her dad, that was really nice, because he's my uncle, so he was definitely a big influence in my life as well, like a huge influence to just know that, like, I help him sometimes too with things, and hearing Amanda's stories and stuff like that was really nice to know that she could do it, so I'm like, I can do it too. And in high school, definitely the trades class that we took was really helpful, and the wood shop that we took was really helpful as well. The fact that we could do it together, because there wasn't many other women in those classes, so the fact that we could do it together and we had each other's support was really influential, and that really did help us to.
That's important, eh?
Yeah.
Support each other, and because I remember back earlier, there was times you mentioned that you're thinking about getting out of there, quitting, and the other one pulled the other one back in, and that's cool.
You obviously there for each other.
But you didn't quit. You're not quitters, right? You started what you finished, and a lot of times, you just have to get over that hump, and you have to learn a few skills to get, so you feel comfortable with it, and you get good at it, and then you go, man, yeah, I like this. I want to go a bit further, right? But if you don't get to that, you're gonna say, oh, I'm going to try something different, right? So you have to give it an honest effort, right? Which you both did, and it's awesome that you kept dragging each other back in. But, and you had you had the work ethic coming into this, because when over the years, if someone had their resume that they were brought up on a farm or something, I hired them right away, because I knew they were hard workers, right? And I knew they could fix anything, right? Because that's what you brought up, right? So it's great that you recognize that at an early age, that I can you could probably have picked any trade you want, because you're whether you're whatever, fixing some minor electrical or fence or whatever it was. So getting the tractor going or whatever, right? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And a lot of those are transferable skills, right? So you had a early age, and that's what the nice thing is about that Explore program. You get to try a few different trades, and you say, I like that, or I like this, or no, I don't want to go into electrical, or whatever it is. No carpentry for me, or it helps you decide anyways. But
no plumbing.
No plumbing, is that what you said? Oh, okay. So what advice do you have for other young people considering going into the trades?
I think Sean's talking to you. Sorry. Huh?
What time are you guys? So you guys are
We're
going
just,
to.
we're just,
Sorry.
That's okay. Sorry.
Okay, we'll cut that
we
out.
just have an arch to deliver.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so for me personally, just go for it. Especially towards, let's say, like females, like other women. Definitely looking at it, it's super intimidating because you look at it and it's definitely male dominated, and you hear all these like horror stories. To be honest with you, like horror stories, and in high school and stuff like that, like it's really intimidating just to take that first step and just to go, all right, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna be okay, and just go for it. Just like be brave in yourself and know that you got this, and like it's totally fine. Like once you go through it, the skills are so worth it. Like I've put the wood shop classes I took and that trades class on my resume, and just graduating from high school, you really have nothing to put on your resume, so it really did help. And yeah, just go for it. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. And also that it's a lot easier than it seems. Like I think so much of that like hesitation comes from like inner hesitation. Like you're more, it's like self-doubt more than anything else. And I think for anybody, just knowing that as soon as you get it, it's so much easier and it's so enjoyable. Even if you struggle a little to begin with, it's worth pushing through until you get to that point where you're like, oh, this is great. And I think, in my opinion, it just always keeps getting better. And that would be
you just keep learning. You just keep learning and growing, and it just gets easier.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's unique, and your friendship and the support you have for each other, and that obviously made it a little bit easier for you. But there are different the women in trades groups and whatnot that for support and whatnot. But yeah, just to, like you said, go out of your comfort zone and just give it a try. And yes, it is becoming more and more acceptable for women in the trades and non-traditional roles. And there's a lot of zero tolerance for any harassment and whatnot on the sites. And there's still you're going to come across and just like anybody, but more women than men on the sites with harassment. And, some minor stuff. There's ways you through your personality you'll deal with it. But if there's anything that gets beyond that, there's always help out there to ask the question and or just address it to some supervisor in a position to to put things straight anyway. So yeah, it's awesome, and that's great advice from you both. And I guess it kind of leads into the next one. Just being a female in a non-traditional trade, what's your biggest challenges?
I think kind of like I said, it's mostly like the self-doubt that comes out. I think it's that like you almost don't want to try because you're like, you have so much like, it's all built up inside of you that you can't do it.
So you can't do it, so you automatically think that way, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think getting over that was definitely my biggest issue. And I even noticed like sometimes I still question myself rather than like just doing it. And if you can do it, you can do it. And if you can't, then you can learn to do it. So I think that was always been a big struggle. I have to say, like, I really haven't ran into that many people who tell me I can't. Either I haven't ran into them or I'm not listening to them. I'm not sure which one. But
that's because they got to know you. They know, no, don't tell her she can't. Oh, geez, no.
So I've only ran into like, again, mostly it's working with my dad, but then like anybody else coming into that, like concrete pourers or other framers or electricians are all like, yes, like good job, you're doing great.
Nice.
And consistent support. Occasionally you run into one person who you're like, oh, that's an interesting opinion. Yeah. but you're like, oh, to each their own. And I find it really enjoyable and encouraging for myself to be able to change somebody's mind. Like when they come in with a little bit of a bias against women, and then after working with me, then you can tell that they don't have so much of that, and that's so nice. And it makes me feel like I'm doing something to help like other little girls go into trades and like not be worried about when they go onto a job site.
Yeah, you know, there's always been stigmas attached to, well, just going in the trades, period. But women going in the trades, that, you know, that it was, you know, you couldn't do it physically and whatnot because of the heavy lifting. But you know what, with new technology, no one has to really lift a lot of weight. There's either techniques or machinery to do the heavy lifting. And, you know, so you work smarter, you know, that's
Yeah.
all. It's,
Yeah.
So I'm glad. Yep.
I was going to say, I think my personal Hail Mary is the fact that they keep making tools lighter.
Yeah.
Greatest thing for me ever. That is the only struggle, is like sometimes when you have a skill saw and you're like, oh, this is a really heavy skill saw. And then like they come up with a new one, it's lighter. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, that's for the guys too. You know, they start complaining about carpal tunnel or just.
Yeah, definitely the playing field is leveled a little bit. For me, working in restoration, I did have a really big struggle, actually. The company that specifically I worked for was definitely a lot better than the other restoration companies in our area. But I did really feel, because there was a lot of heavy lifting, like there's a lot of drywall removal and stuff like that. And it's just not, it's just not necessarily normal that I felt for someone, especially my age, because I was hired when I was 18, straight out of high school. There's also that stigma, like that the young people don't want to work and stuff like that. There's also that. So I really did feel it working in restoration. And I think by the time that I quit, then it was a little bit better. Like, you know, I kind of paved the way a little bit, but it was definitely part of the reason why I don't want to work in restoration, or definitely part of the reason why I always hesitate when applying to other trades, because I feel like there might still be that stigma. And I know that there still is a little bit of that stigma. It's definitely gotten better, but it's difficult to deal with it when it's like your superiors say that's putting these expectations on you.
Yep.
So like if someone tells you to go do something that's classically a girl job, despite the fact that all your male coworkers have worked there longer, they have the same job description and stuff like that. It's really difficult to be told to go do girl jobs when you just want to learn, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to learn and grow and just get better at my job in all aspects. So that was really difficult for me. But definitely just like I stuck to it and just kept going and had some talks with a couple of people, and it definitely got a little bit better. But yeah, it's definitely getting better though.
Yeah, there's always obstacles, right? Some of them aren't, you know, you learn to deal with certain things, but then, you know, there's only so much tolerance on bad behavior, right? And you have to deal with it, whether you do it personally or you know, moving on, or, you know, talk to a supervisor.
Exactly.
But, you know, but that's a skill too, is you can't just, I just quit. You know, you just, you know, you look for some help, you know, so you did your research and yeah, so that's awesome. And, you know, the two of you are a couple pioneers coming out of high school. And, you know, there's more and more women in the trades, and you know, with attitudes like yours, there'll be more that are going to want to go in, and just, you know, getting that big support group
Sure.
is going to help you push a lot further. So basically, that was the list of questions I had, but I want to cover one more thing. That you had mentioned to me before the interview that you were considering going into business.
Yes.
And so tell us a bit about that.
So basically, my dad's getting up in his age. It's his retiring years, his golden years.
Must be
Be
free.
careful now.
And he'd mentioned to me before that he thought that me and Becky would do like a wonderful job running a business. And I was like, you know what, that's not a bad idea. And just thinking about it, like the more I thought about it, the more that sounded like something I'd 100% want to do. Like, I love working for myself. I love working with Becky. I love people, so that's helpful. So our current plan is come start mid to end October. My dad will be back from a house that we were building up north. I just got back a few weeks earlier. And then we'll be apprenticing to take over the company. So we will be doing, I know mostly how to do all the paperwork, so that's all good to go. But we still have a lot of learning to do. So he's going to help us. Anything we don't know how to do, he'll come with us to the jobs. And anything we do know how to do, we'll do them on our own. And just slowly kind of like take it from under his feet and, you know, like pull the rug out on us.
Okay, bye.
But yeah, and then I think after that, we haven't actually discussed fully, but I would really like to get into house flipping. I don't know about
yeah, I mean, we're gonna we'll got some
figure it
stuff
out
to
as
figure
we
out
go.
still, but yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited.
I'm down for
about
house
it.
flipping.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect.
That's really exciting. I'm really happy for you too. That's pretty cool stuff. So you want to give your company a plug? What's going to be the company name? What do you guys do? And let's get some free advertising here.
Currently, it's Steiner Renovations.
Yes,
yeah,
my dad's company. But I really like the name Steiner Renovations. Becky's last name is Ray.
Renovations.
We won't use it, but I think it's creative.
Be like SNR. I don't know. We're still thinking.
We'll
get back to you on that.
Yeah, we'll get back to you.
Yeah,
Well, it's a little gimmick that helps you get, you know, noticing whether it's quirky or not. You know, you just, what's this company all about, right? Yeah, that's cool. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you participating. And like I said, myself and everybody at the Construction Foundation are pretty proud of you too, and excited that the path you're taking in the trades, and we're going to see more of you. And we're going to come back and check on you in a while, maybe down the road sometime, and see how you're doing. And yeah. Anyways, nice talking to you. Okay,
It was
awesome.
lovely talking to you too.